Ever heard of the man who built systems, not just companies? A man so quiet, his influence was like gravity unseen, but shaping everything around it. He didn't build railroads or giant factories with his bare hands. He built the financial architecture that powered them all. This is the story of Andrew Mellon, the quiet titan who sculpted modern American finance. Andrew William Mellon was born in 1855, right in the heart of industrial America, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You could say finance was in his blood. His father, Thomas Mellon, was a successful judge who founded his own bank, T. Mellon and Sons. From his earliest days, Andrew was surrounded by the hum of money, the clatter of industry, and the quiet whispers of power. But unlike the boisterous industrialists of his era, young Andrew was different. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he was analytical, methodical, and intensely private. He observed, he calculated, and he learned. After attending what is now the University of Pittsburgh and then Yale, he didn't waste any time. He joined the family business, and it quickly became clear he wasn't just his father's son. He was a financial prodigy. Mellon didn't just operate like a typical banker, lending money and collecting interest. He thought like a venture capitalist, long before the term was even invented. He saw the future, and he decided to fund it. His strategy was simple yet revolutionary. Identify and invest in the industries that would define the 20th century. He wasn't just providing loans, he was providing the seed capital for empires. Steel, oil, chemicals, and one of his most transformative bets, aluminum. Think about it. In the late 19th century, aluminum was a novelty. It was so rare and expensive that Napoleon III had his state dinnerware made from it to impress guests. But Mellon saw past the novelty. He saw its potential, its lightness, its strength. He poured money into a small, struggling company called the Pittsburgh Reduction Company. Today, we know it as Alcoa, the aluminum company of America. Mellon's bet paid off spectacularly. His investment helped turn aluminum from a precious metal into an essential industrial material. Suddenly, it was everywhere. In cookware, in cars, in airplanes. It literally helped the world take flight. This one investment alone shows Mellon's genius. He didn't just react to the market, he created it. Through his bank, he helped finance companies that became household names, Gulf Oil, Union Steel, and a host of others that formed the backbone of the American industrial machine. By the early 1900s, this quiet banker from Pittsburgh had become one of the wealthiest men in the world, his fortune rivaling that of Rockefeller and Carnegie. But for Andrew Mellon, immense wealth wasn't the end game. It was a tool for something bigger, influence on a national scale. In 1921, his career took a dramatic turn. President Warren G. Harding appointed him as the U.S. Secretary of the Treasury. This wasn't just a job. It was the perfect platform for Mellon to apply his financial philosophy to an entire country. He would go on to serve under 3 consecutive presidents, Harding, Calvin Coolidge, and Herbert Hoover, holding the position for an incredible 11 years. His economic philosophy, which came to be known as Mellonomics, was clear and consistent. He believed that high taxes on the wealthy stifled investment and economic growth. Why would someone risk their capital on a new venture, he argued, if the government was just going to take a huge chunk of the potential profits? So, he championed a radical idea for the time: significant tax cuts, especially for the highest earners. He argued this would free up capital, which would then be reinvested into businesses, creating jobs and prosperity for everyone. This is the core of what we now call supply-side economics. Alongside tax cuts, Mellon was obsessed with fiscal responsibility. He worked relentlessly to reduce the massive national debt left over from World War I and to balance the federal budget. And for a while, it seemed to be working miracles. The 1920s, the Roaring Twenties, saw a period of explosive economic growth. The stock market soared, consumer spending boomed, and America seemed to be on top of a wave of unending prosperity. Mellon was hailed as the greatest Treasury Secretary since Alexander Hamilton. but his policies were not without fierce critics. Opponents argued that Mellon's tax cuts disproportionately benefited the wealthy men like himself while doing little for the average worker. They claimed he was creating a dangerous economic bubble, one built on speculation and inequality. The debate raged. Was Mellon the architect of prosperity, or the engineer of a system destined to collapse? Then, in October 1929, the bubble burst. The stock market crashed, plunging the nation and the world into the Great Depression. The roaring economy fell silent. As unemployment skyrocketed and banks failed, Mellon's reputation crumbled. His philosophy of limited government intervention seemed woefully inadequate in the face of such a catastrophic crisis. His advice to President Hoover was to liquidate labor, liquidate stocks, liquidate the farmers, liquidate real estate. He believed the system needed to purge its excesses to recover. To a public facing breadlines and despair, this sounded cold, cruel, and completely out of touch. The man once praised as a financial genius was now villainized as a symbol of the old order that had failed. In 1932, he resigned from the Treasury and became the U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom, quietly exiting the political stage. But Andrew Mellon's story doesn't end in failure or disgrace. In the final years of his life, he turned his focus to one last monumental project: philanthropy. This was his chance to shape his ultimate legacy. Throughout his life, Mellon had been a passionate and secretive art collector, amassing one of the finest private collections in the world, filled with masterpieces by artists like Rembrandt, Vermeer, and Raphael. He believed that great art belonged to the people, that it was a vital part of a nation's cultural heritage. So, he made an extraordinary offer to the country he had served. He would donate his entire priceless collection and also provide the funds to build a magnificent museum in Washington, D.C. to house it. There was just one condition: the museum could not bear his name. He wanted it to be a true gift to the nation, not a monument to himself. In 1937, Congress accepted his gift, and the National Gallery of Art was born. Andrew Mellon died just a few months later, before he could see it completed. Today, millions of visitors walk through the halls of the National Gallery, many without ever knowing the name of the quiet, reserved man who made it all possible. Andrew Mellon's name may have faded from the headlines, but his influence is woven into the very fabric of modern America. It's in the financial systems he helped build, the industries he funded, the economic theories he championed, and the art he gifted to the nation. He wasn't a builder of things you could touch, like steel rails or skyscrapers. He was a builder of systems, of capital, and of policy. He was the quiet power who, from behind the scenes, shaped a century. Thanks for watching. If you found this story of hidden influence as fascinating as I do, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the figures who secretly shaped our world. See you in the next one.